While it's been 15 days since Nutella has left us, it has left a huge void in our life. It's like I felt when my mom went away, because while my dad went away, I still had my mom. But with mom's passing, it basically meant I did not have either of my parents, and that was like an entire era gone. And that's how I felt with Nutella going, because when one by one we lost each of our guinea pigs, at least we had the remaining ones with us. But with Nutella saying goodbye 15 days back, it's that room is vacant, empty, no one there in that room, and when the lights are not on. And by habit, I think every time I used to go there, I used to call her out. And after she passed away, the next day when I went there, I almost called her out and realized that she is not there. And it happened a few times after that, and the immediate reaction that I had was to stop myself and just to remind myself that she is not there. And then I said, why should I do that? I mean, it's very, very painful to go in that room and not call her out. So I continued to call her out as I went in that room, as if she's still there, and as if I can talk to her, as if I can feel her presence. And sure enough, when I kept calling her out and I kept looking to talk to her all the time, I was able to feel her presence. I was able to just continue that relationship as if nothing had happened. And in my mind, I almost felt that, she's there, she's eating. I'm asking the maid, have you fed her? Is she eating all right? Did she eat all right last night, as I usually ask? And everything seemed normal. And it's been 15 days, and I have continued that practice ever since. And right now, when I'm sitting down and I'm just thinking about it, that I've continued the practice. For all practical purposes, she's not there, but for all emotional purposes, she's right there, because I'm just continuing my day as I always do, calling her out, talking to her. And the only thing I am not able to do is just touch her. Other than that, just the sense is the same. And when I sit down, I'm thinking that that entire emotion of talking to her is just an emotion. And even if she is not there, if I keep talking to her, I'm still getting the same experience. And I think it is true with a lot of emotions. When you meet a loved one, it gives rise to a certain emotion, and we feel good about it. But what we actually feel good about is the actual emotion that we feel good about, and not really seeing that loved one. The difference is very subtle but very important. When you see a loved one, you meet that person, you spend time with that person, you feel good. And it's that feeling of feeling good is what you enjoy, not exactly meeting the loved one. So if that same feeling can be triggered by some other experience, you are happy. And when that loved one is gone, or you have not been able to meet that loved one for a long time, you are not able to experience that feeling, and that's what you miss. You don't miss the loved one, you miss that feeling of being with that person. And I know for all practical purposes, we can't separate those two things. I mean, the feeling of meeting your mom or dad, you cannot replicate that feeling if you can't meet them actually, right? It's very, very difficult to replicate that feeling. But it is very important to understand that all the relationships are nothing but the emotions that we feel when we are with that person. And you might say, what's the big deal? It's the same thing. You go and meet your brother, you go and meet your girlfriend, boyfriend, and you feel good about it. You can't feel like that without that person being there. So that distinction really doesn't matter. Whether you're enjoying the feeling of being with your loved one, or you just you just enjoy being with your loved one, is one and the same thing. But that subtle difference makes all the difference, because it's a selfish feeling. When I go and feed my dogs, and when they come and lovingly meet me, they give me that attention, they give me that warmth, and I feel good about it. And honestly, it's that feeling that they generate in me is what I enjoy, and which is why I go out and spend time with them. It's a completely selfish act. And there is nothing wrong in that act. I mean, the word selfish actually means a lot of negative things, but I don't think there is anything wrong in that. It's all right to be selfish. Even a selfless act that Mother Teresa did, obviously by this definition, is a selfish act, and which is perfectly fine. Most of the freedom fighters who fought for their country felt good about what they were doing. But it contributed to the freedom of that nation. When you go and look after stray dogs or stray animals, or you do some charity, you're definitely contributing towards the society. So that selfish act, by my definition, is still a selfless act. So coming back, why this is important? This is very important because it tells you that you can detach yourself. The moment you realize that what you're missing is not the person, but the feeling that you used to get by being with that person. And that feeling is not you. That feeling is not that relationship. That feeling is not that person. It's something that gets created in your mind. And that's a very, very important distinction to remember. Because all of this is transitionary. Everything comes and everything goes. No relationships are permanent. They are all transitional relationships. People are born, people die. It's especially true with animals, and that's what I've learned. Their lifespan is shorter. So you actually do see them born in front of you, and you see them die in your own arms. And that tells you what you have is what you have right now. And that's all that matters. And this feeling is what matters. How you feel. People go through divorces. Why? Not because that person has changed, because they have stopped feeling the same way that they did when they started dating that person. That's a transitionary relationship? No. It's a transitionary feeling. And the moment we realize that, then it helps us realize that if it is just an emotion, then we can control it, we can create it, we can acknowledge it at the minimum. And it's just a matter of changing that reaction, it's just a matter of changing that emotion. And you can reinvent a dead relationship. You can heal yourself from the grief that you feel when a loved one goes away or passes on. This is possible when we start recognizing that an emotion is different from who we are. The emotion is different from the relationship in which we are. The emotion is different from the person we are with. I think that's quite critical.